Love, betrayal, divorce, new life, farm, inheritance, real emotions. I thought I was just going to see what I had inherited, but I had no idea it would change my entire life. I was married. I had a career, stability, a perfect life, but inside emptiness. When I inherited a farm from an uncle I had never met, my husband laughed. But I went anyway. And there, in the silence, in the land, in something real, I lost my marriage, but I found myself. I found a love that doesn't shout, but quietly becomes your home. This is a story about choice, about fear, and about the life that begins when you finally listen to your heart.
Love Stories Max. Welcome to my channel. Enjoy watching, friends.
I lost my husband and found my real life. I remember that morning down to the smallest detail. The coffee tasted too bitter. Again, probably because I wasn't thinking about the taste, but about how strangely quiet our house had become. Roger and I had been married for 2 years. 2 years, not quite the beginning anymore, but not forever either. We laughed, traveled, built our careers. I opened my own small beauty studio with white walls, a hint of vanilla in the air, and soft lighting that made women feel just a little happier. And Roger, he was a lawyer. Always perfectly pressed shirts. Always an answer for everything. Except one thing. Kids? Taylor, we're still young. We have time. He said it so often that it stopped sounding like a plan and started sounding like an excuse. I nodded, smiled, but inside something tightened. That day a notary called. His voice was dry, almost paper-like. You are the sole heir of Mr. Nicholas Woods. I didn't even understand at first. I'm sorry, who? Your uncle. I had never seen him. My mom, Claire, never talked about him. Only once when I was little I asked, "Do you have a brother?" She froze for a second, then said, "I did." And that was it. When I told Roger about the inheritance, he laughed. Not just smiled. Laughed. Loudly. Almost mockingly. What, you're serious? You're gonna move to some village? Milk cows. He even waved his hands like it was the funniest thing in the world. Taylor, let's just sell it. Money is what matters. I looked at him, and for the first time I didn't recognize him. The more he laughed, the quieter something inside me became. And the stronger. I wanted to go. I didn't tell him right away. 2 days later I just packed a suitcase, a few dresses, an old sweater, a photo of my mom when she was young and smiling, and I left. My Uncle Nicholas's house stood at the edge of a wide-open field. When I opened the car door, something hit me. The smell. Fresh hay. Wet earth after rain. Silence. The kind of silence you can't buy in the city. The house was old but alive. The wooden porch creaked under my feet. The paint on the door was peeling. A clay pot with dried flowers sat on the windowsill. I ran my hand over the door. "Hi," I whispered, not even sure to whom. Inside it was cool and strangely cozy. In the kitchen, an old stove, a scratched kettle, 1 cup. On the wall, photographs, and among them my mom, young, laughing, hugging a man with warm eyes. I froze. "That's you, Nicholas." My chest tightened. I stayed the night, then another, then a week. I learned to wake up early, when the fog still lay over the fields like a blanket. I would step out barefoot onto the porch, hold a cup of hot tea, and listen to the world waking up. No cars, no calls. "No, Taylor, hurry, we have a meeting." Just me, and silence. And you know what's strange? For the first time in a long time, I stopped rushing. One day I found a box, old, tied with a piece of string. Inside, letters. From my mom to Nicholas. I sat on the floor and read them, and every word broke me. "I'm sorry. I couldn't stay. I was afraid." They weren't enemies. They just lost each other. Because of pride. Because of pain. Because of choices. I cried. For a long time. Quietly. That evening I called Roger. "I'm staying here a little longer." Silence. "Taylor, are you serious? This isn't funny anymore." I tightened my grip on the phone. "What's funny about it, Roger?" He sighed. "You're wasting time." And that's when I realized. For the first time, I didn't agree. No. For the first time I'm finding it. After the call, I stepped outside. The sky was full of stars, and suddenly, I felt something very simple, but very important. I wasn't unhappy in my marriage, but I was lost. I was living a life that was right, but not one that was mine. 2 weeks passed. I started cleaning the house, throwing things away, keeping what mattered. I set up a small corner, turned it into a mini studio, a mirror, lights, a chair, and one day my first client came, a neighbor. "I heard you're good." I smiled. "Let's find out." That evening I called my mom. "Why did you leave him?" A long silence, then a quiet voice. "Because I was afraid to live differently." I closed my eyes. "And now?" She started crying. "Now I'm afraid I lost something real." I stood by the window, looking out at the field, thinking, what was I losing? A month later, Roger came. He stepped out of the car, in his perfect suit that looked out of place here. Looked around. "You actually live here?" I nodded. He stepped closer. "Taylor, come home." I looked at him, and for the first time, I didn't feel like that was my home. "Roger, what if I already am?" He said nothing. I don't know how this story ends. Maybe we'll find a new path together, or maybe we won't. But I know one thing. I'm no longer afraid to listen to myself. Sometimes to find your life, you have to lose the one that isn't yours. Roger left that same day. No scene, no shouting. He just got into the car and disappeared down the road, leaving a soft cloud of dust behind him. I stood on the porch, wrapping my arms around myself, watching his silhouette fade between the fields. And strangely, I didn't run after him. We kept calling each other for a while, less often, then even less. And somehow we almost stopped. No fights, no final words. We just faded. And only then did I truly start seeing the farm. It was big, not just a house in some land. No, it was a real working place, with mornings that smelled like milk and fresh grass, with evenings where the sun set slowly, like it didn't want to leave, and with people. Ted. He was 30, and he had been working here for 7 years. When I arrived, he looked at me carefully, like I was temporary, like I had come to destroy everything. "You're not going to sell the farm, right?" he asked one day, a little tense. I smiled. "Do you want me to?" He shook his head immediately. "No." And that's when I realized this wasn't just a job for him. It was his life. He started showing me everything. Slowly, patiently, with respect. "This is Bella. She's stubborn but kind. That's Luna, don't scare her. And this," he smiled, "is Zeus." I looked up and froze. A huge, powerful bull stared right at me. "Is he dangerous?" I whispered. "Only if you're afraid." I took a step closer, and for the first time, I didn't step back. My studio in the city kept running without me. The girls sent weekly reports, money, updates, and I looked at those numbers like they belonged to someone else, like that life wasn't fully mine anymore. So I stayed. For real. Days passed, then weeks, then 6 months. The farm changed, and so did I. We woke up early, worked hard, sometimes until our hands hurt. But in the evenings, I looked around and saw results. Alive, real, mine. Ted stopped looking at me with doubt. Now he looked with respect, and sometimes with a quiet smile. I caught those moments and felt something warm inside me. Not loud, just steady. One evening we sat on the steps. The sun was almost gone, the sky glowing gold. I held a glass of milk and suddenly said, "What if we create something of our own?" Ted looked at me. "Like what?" "Cheese, yogurt, natural, ours." He thought for a moment, then smiled. "Let's try." We experimented, failed, laughed. Sometimes everything went wrong. Sometimes it was perfect. And one day the first customer came, then another, and another. They came back, again and again. I stood in our small production room, holding a jar of yogurt with our label on it, and felt my fingers tremble, not from fear, from happiness. It was quiet here, warm, real, and for the first time in my life, I didn't want to be anywhere else. I don't remember the exact day Roger and I finally ended things. It wasn't loud, no shouting, No accusations. One day we just looked at each other honestly and admitted what had been there all along. We had become different people. The divorce was quiet, almost respectful, like we weren't breaking something. We were letting it go. I didn't cry, not because it didn't hurt, but because for the first time it felt right. Ted didn't ask questions. He was just there, like always, steady, reliable. I knew he had his own story too. One evening, while we were fixing a fence, I asked, "Have you ever been married?" He smiled a little sadly. "Almost." I looked at him. "What happened?" He was quiet for a moment. "She cheated." Simple. No drama. But there was so much silence in those words. I didn't ask anything else. After that, he seemed to dive even deeper into work. The farm was his shield, his world, his way not to feel. And then something changed. Slowly, almost invisibly, we started laughing more, staying longer after work, sitting on the steps in silence that no longer felt lonely. One evening it started raining. Sudden, warm. We ran into the barn laughing, completely soaked. I looked at him and suddenly understood. I felt calm with him. Truly. He stepped closer, paused, like he was afraid to break the moment. "Taylor." And I just took a step toward him. Our first kiss was quiet. No music, no words, but it held more truth than anything I had lived before. We didn't rush. We didn't need to. We already knew the cost of mistakes. The farm was thriving. Our cheeses and yogurts were being ordered from other cities. People wrote, "Your products taste like real life." And every time, I smiled, because it was true. Ted proposed simply. No big scene. No show. We were standing in the field where I had once felt alive for the first time. "Will you stay with me forever?" I laughed through tears. "I already have." Our wedding was loud, bright, alive. The farm filled with people, laughter, music, the smell of fresh bread, flowers, and warm summer air. I wore a light dress that almost floated in the wind. Ted looked at me like I was his whole world, and maybe I was. We danced barefoot on the grass, laughed, held each other, lived, and only a few observant grandmothers whispered to each other, smiling, looking at me. At my barely noticeable belly, I placed my hand over it and felt something so gentle it softened my breath. Life didn't become perfect, but it became mine. Sometimes I think about my mom, about her fear, and how easy it is to lose something real just by being afraid to be yourself. I'm not afraid anymore, because now I know love isn't loud words, not perfect plans. Love is standing barefoot on the ground and feeling like you're home. And if one day my child asks me, "Mom, how do you find your life?" I'll smile and say, "Listen to your heart, even if it scares you at first."
Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss new stories. And also write in the comments how you liked this story on a scale of 1 to 5. Watch the following video and enjoy watching.